There is something happening in people's lives. They are being called to things that have notoriously been considered unconventional, the dark, magical, and spiritual side of life. They are seeking life's answers, and so are we. I'm Stephanie Long.
And I'm Kendall Shahan.
And we're investigative journalists who want to break the norm of society's views of what we don't know or understand. We're the conduit for people to share their message that is otherwise considered taboo. The world is a mysterious place full of unexpected miracles, so join us in investigating the unknown. Welcome, everyone. We have Richel Stratton on today. She is on A&E's Ghost Hunters. So Richel is just going to tell us more about her ghost hunting adventures and how she got into it and got on A&E. So Richel, if you just want to tell us more about that, that'd be great.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I had my first paranormal experience when I was 8 years old. I actually woke up in the middle of the night to someone standing at the foot of my bed. I told my mom the next day. She didn't really believe me. The following night, the same person ended up standing at the foot of my sister's bed. And that's how I kind of got into it. But when you're 8 years old, you only can do so much. So once I got older in my 20s, I started investigating with my sister. We would go to different ghost hunts and investigations. And eventually we ended up joining Riverbend Paranormal. And that's kind of what got me into the whole investigating thing. The funny thing about us joining Riverbend Paranormal is my sister actually ended up joining first. And she's like, hey, I found this paranormal group that I'm going to join. Do you want to come with me to an investigation and maybe join the group too? And I said, you can go first. And if it's not a cult, then maybe I'll tag along. So she ended up going, being a good big sister, and she loved the people. She met Brian, and she told me how great everyone was and that it was a really cool group and that we kind of have similar investigation style. So then I said, hey, I want to join the group too. So she kept asking Brian if she could bring her little sister with her to this investigation. And he's kind of like, no, I mean, we already have you. We don't need another one of you. I'm kind of happy with the team. And she was a little persistent because I was persistent. I was like, I really want to go. Just take me to one and then we'll figure it out. So she ended up bringing me, and then I ended up joining. Brian finally said yes, which I love to give him shit about because we're best friends. And I'm like, you originally didn't even want me around. And being a baby sister, I heard that a lot through growing up. My older sister didn't want me around. And then I was like, and now it's working out this way, but now we're best friends. So it was just super fun because I was like, initially, now you don't want to investigate without me, but before you didn't even want me there. But, so joined Riverbend Paranormal. And Brian had gotten a call saying that someone was interested in him for a paranormal show. And Brian was like, okay. So he did an interview or whatever. And they're like, well, do you work with anyone? They were just asking. And Brian's like, yeah, you can look at my team, Riverbend Paranormal. I work with all of these people. He's like, I investigate with Richel a lot. She's my best friend. And he named off some other people. And I ended up getting a call from them. And I thought it was a joke. I didn't. Oh, you want me on a TV show? Okay. Yeah, sure.
I would think it was a joke too, actually.
Good one. Ha ha ha. And he was like, no, we want to do an interview with you or whatever. And I was like, okay. The whole time I think is I don't believe it. I'm like, this is not real. This is some scam. Okay.
And you think you're talking to A&E, is that right?
Yeah. I'm like, let me give you a little bit of information. I was actually talking to Pilgrim Productions. So I was like, give you some information, blah, blah, blah. I was unapologetically myself because I didn't think it was real. I'm going to be honest. I don't necessarily think I put my best foot forward. Looking back,
yeah.
One interview I did, I have a habit of how I end a thought or wrap up something is saying, I don't know. And then I'll go into this like long explanation of something where I know exactly what I'm talking about. And still at the end of it, we'll go, I don't know. Yeah. So what yeah, I don't know if that answered your question or not. And I
What kind of stuff were they asking? Do you mind telling?
They were asking me about like type of equipment I used, type of investigation styles, like places I've been, you know, like what I did for a living. Like me saying, oh, I'm a dental hygienist. I'm a wife and I'm a mother of 2 children. But I don't know if that answered your question. You're dumb, Richel. You answered the question. Why are you saying, I don't know if that answered your question? You know you answered the question thoroughly. You gave them more information than they wanted. Like, they don't care. They do care, but you know what I mean? Like, so I did this with the Skype interview. And at the end of it, the guy says, do you have any questions for me? So I like hit him with 3 questions that I wanted to know. And he was like answering them and then says, I don't know. Did that answer your question? He's like, I don't know. Did that answer your question? And I said, are you mocking me? He's like, no. I said, because you literally just said how I finish all of my stuff. He's like, I don't know why I did that. I said, because it's not easy answering questions, huh? And rapid fire. And he was like, started laughing. He's like, I like you. So I literally gave one of the guys on the Skype interview shit. I was shit talking to someone I'm trying to get a job with. Do that. Is that putting your best foot forward? No, it's not. It's not doing that at all.
Sounds like it worked though.
Well, I ended up getting a call that like, hey, we want to fly you out to California and do some investigation on camera. I was like, what? This is when it started getting a little fishy.
Do they interview you? Before the show, did they interview you and Brandon and Daryl and put you together?
Brian and all of us, yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, Brian, you're taking this joke a little too far. Now you're telling me you're flying me to California. Like, this is a little too much. Like, we're getting cruel at this point. So I told my husband, who I had been talking to, and he was like, these people legitimately work for this production company. I said, they do? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, interesting. And he's like, so I was like, they want to fly me out to California for on-camera stuff. And he's like, okay, when? So like that, we got it all set up. Brian and I went to California, which was awesome. Brian and I were actually the only 2 people there that were on the same team together.
Oh, really?
Also, at the same time, if both of us didn't make it, it would have been very awkward, especially because we're best friends.
Oh, it was on audition?
Huh?
It was on audition then?
Okay. They never called in an audition.
Man, this is like the American Idol of ghost hunting.
So we get to California, they give us these packets, and like then they say, so you may not be here the full week. You have some tests you have to do, and then we'll do some on-screen interviews and stuff and like investigation. And you may stay the full week, or we may send you home. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, you may get sent home early. I said, no. I said, I got my patients covered for a week. I have childcare for a week. Keep me the week. I said, I don't care if you don't want me. Keep me the week. I will get people water. I will be your bitch. I will do whatever. This is a mini vacation. I'm in California. You keep me the whole week, okay? Please?
I love it.
And they kind of like laughed. I was like, I know that you think we're joking. Like this is some fun banter thing we got going back and forth. I'm not joking. Like I'm serious. Keep me here all week long, whether you want me or not. We can break up at the end of the week. That's fine. Just keep me. So anyway, ended up staying the full week, which was great. And you know, Brian and I compare notes of like how things went. So we had to go in to this room full of 6 people with like some people from the network and then the owner of the production company, which you would think that in our heads would be like, oh, like, let's do this right. Okay, let's do great. So Brian goes first and he says, hi, my name's Brian Murray or whatever. And he said, the owner of the production company literally looked at me and said, huh, you have a bitch voice. And he said, and I looked at him and says, yeah, but if you come up here, I'll get with it. And the guy was like, I like you. So he came out and told me this. I'm like, you threatened the guy that we're trying to like impress? He's like, I don't know what happened. It just came out. I was like, okay. And he's like, well, good luck. I was like, well, I can't do worse than you. And I went in there. He was talking to me and he was telling me, I jinxed myself by saying I couldn't do worse than you, because he was talking about how he had his teeth cleaned the other day. And he's like, and I was going to be like 15 minutes late, but I called and let him know. He's like, and he's like, my hygienist rushed on me. He's like, can you believe that? I said, no. He's like, right? I said, I wouldn't have seen you. And he said, what? I said, if you're going to be 15 minutes late, I'm not going to see you as a patient because I have other patients behind you and are going to show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, and I was kind of like, that was kind of sassy of me. Great. So then they asked me, we move on. I kind of like feel like I made it like, okay, we're back. Like that was a little stumble, but we're good. We're still in the game. Like we can do this. And they said, so what are your thoughts on demons? And like, I was like, well, I believe in God and I believe in demons and the devil and stuff. They're like, well, okay. I was like, but I said, I'm going to be honest with you right now. My view on demons is a little skewed right now. And they were like, what? Remember how I told you earlier that I binge watch shit?
Uh-huh.
I was currently binge watching Lucifer. I said, I'm binge watching Lucifer right now, and I kind of feel like demons maybe aren't such bad people. They're just misunderstood. Like the devil got a really shitty end of the stick. And I'm like, shut up. Like, Richel, why are you telling someone that? Like that you think the devil isn't that bad of a guy? No, you think the fictional character on Lucifer that you're binge watching is not a bad guy. Like, this is not translating in like the real world. Like, you sound like a kook right now. Luckily, one of the ladies there had also watched Lucifer, so she knew exactly what I was talking about. She's like, okay, I get it. She's like, no, you need to binge watch it. Because he was kind of like, what are you saying? Like, I'm like, I'm not a devil worshiper. I'm just saying, like, Lucifer, that's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, finally get out of that, sweating, everything, get out of that. Brian's like, how'd it go? I told him what happened. He was like, we're going home. I said, definitely not looking like strong as a unit right now. I mean, you both really aren't doing great. Like, so let's just, I guess we should pack our bags and just wait for them to give us plane tickets home. He's like, okay. So we got through that. They didn't send us home. I was like, okay.
Did they send other people home? Were they like
they sent a couple people home.
Oh, okay.
Which was kind of awkward because one of the people that went home, Brian and I were kind of like friendly with, like we talked to, and then we felt bad. And like, I was trying to comfort her because it sucks. And Brian is not good with words at all. And we always joke about how I translate for him. And he looked at her, he's like, and patted her on the shoulder and just says, you just got to do good life. And then looked at me like, why is this happening? Like, help me. And I looked at him, I said, I don't even know what you were trying to do there. Like, luckily she had been hanging out with us. So she like knew that he sucked at words.
Yeah.
And she kind of laughed. So it made it a little bit better. But I'm like, you just told someone going home to do good life. Like basically sucks to suck, do better. Like, He was like, I didn't mean it that way. I was like, I know you didn't mean it that way, but that's how it came out. So anyway, then we get to the investigation part where we're going to be on camera. We are from the Midwest. We've never been on a show. We've never been on camera. Like typically when I investigate, if there's a camera, I back out of the way because I'm not the subject I'm trying to see. You know, I'm trying to catch a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be standing in the way. So we do an investigation or a run, and the cameras are really good about staying out of your, like, they're on you, but very good at staying where you're not really registering that they're there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we end up hearing a noise, so we start to go investigate it. And I could hear the animals outside. This is Brian's favorite thing. I worded a question it was very stupid how I worded it. Okay. Like I'm not proud of it, but this is his favorite moment ever because I said something stupid instead of him. And I'm hearing animals, and I said, do you think that they had animals back then? I did not mean animals like in general in the world back then. Okay. But he took it and ran with it. He was like, did they have animals back in the 1800s? Yeah, Richel, they did. I was like, that's not how I meant it. And you know it. Did they have them this close to the house back then? I said, also, I don't know why you're being such an asshole and trying to make me look stupid. Dick move, dude. The cameraman started giggling. That's when we registered that we were being recorded to present to the people trying to get the job.
I love that.
I'm like, we literally just bickered back and forth. I called you several names. You were being sassy back. Like, why do we keep doing this? Like, why? So, huh?
It's good TV.
The stuff that happened wasn't even like we're on TV, let's put a show. It's just the way we are. And it's like, oh shit, now we're getting like it's being recorded. So now other people get to see we are like, So then we had a portion where we were watching the cameras while other groups were investigating. So we're sitting there looking at the DVR system, and we see something go on in one of the boxes. So we radio to Brandon and Mustafa, who happened to be investigating together. And we said, hey, we've seen something on camera, blah, blah, blah. Can you go in and see, like, something went past? Like, so we're watching the screen, and all of a sudden it just blacks out. Doesn't black out. Mustafa's ass blocks the whole entire camera. And Brian and I's eyes get really big. We just look at each other and start giggling like children.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a camera's on us with a reaction. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, not only are we basically cussing each other out in there, like, you know, mother trucking each other. Now we're making fun of someone out here. Like, why? We're bad people. This is not good. And I hope this man never sees this, because this is, I told him about it, and he thought it was hilarious and laughed. Like, Mustafa thought it was funny. He laughed at it. But I was like, this is not great. No.
How many cameras did they have on at one time?
I think they had like 3 or 4. I don't know. Like, they're all over the place. But I don't know. So we get done with all of that stuff. They tell us they'll call us in like a couple weeks. I'm like, okay. We go home. We go back to our lives. We're like, they're never calling us. We didn't do a good job. They aren't calling us. And like a month goes by, and I'm like, well, I guess we didn't get it. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, it was a fun vacation. We at least got to stay the whole week. Like, whatever. And then we get a call about like saying got called on my lunch break. And the guy was like, "Hey, Richel, it's so-and-so." And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Do you have time to chat?" I said, "I'm coming back from my lunch break. What's like real quick, what's going on?" Like, I figured they were calling to say we went another direction, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, yeah, I have like 15 minutes. Like, what's up? And he's like, "Are you sitting down?" I'm like, "I'm in the car." So yeah. And he's like, "Okay, well, I just wanted to let you know that the network loved you and congratulations. You're a ghost hunter." I said, "Okay." I said, "Is that it?" And he said, "This is a good thing. Like, you can be excited." I said, "I am." He said, "This is you excited?" I was like, "Yep." It was like I'm marinating in what he said. And he's like, "Okay, well, I said, wait. Did Brian make it?" And he said, "I'm not allowed to say, but yes." I was like, and I was like, "Okay." And he's like, I was like, "I'm marinating. I can't jump up and down right now because I'm trying to process what does this even mean for me?" You know, I'm a hygienist. I'm a mother of two. I'm a wife. Like, how is this going to change my life? What is this looking like? Like, how long am I going to have sitters for? Like, how long do I have before I'm leaving? Like, you want me on TV? Did you watch any of the stuff that I did while I was there? I'm like, "Okay, well, I feel like you may have buyer's remorse later in life, but we'll go ahead and go with it." And yeah, so that's how I got on Ghost Hunters. And the funny thing about it is, up until we were there, none of us knew it was for ghost hunters. We thought it was just a paranormal show.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
So then, like, not only like am I going to be on TV, but I'm going to be on the Ghost Hunters. Like, way to like aim for the stars when you're doing something.
Totally.
And that's a lot to live up to. So, you know, put your best foot forward, not like you did in California. And I don't even know. Like, that's how that happened. And apparently they liked my mouthy side. They thought it was funny. And I was like, well, I'm so happy I was myself, because it would really be hard to keep up a ruse.
Yeah.
Like, apparently I had a hard enough time, you know, being professional and putting my best foot forward for a week, let alone however long you're going to keep me there. So that's how I got on Ghost Hunters. I still don't know how. I still don't know why. I don't know. I'm like, we didn't know that Grant had helped pick us out either, because like when we met, we didn't know that he was even going to be a part of it until the St. Augustine. Well, that was our first investigation. And he showed up and like he walked up, like introduced himself, like we didn't know who he was. Okay. And he shook my hand and was like, "Richel, it's so great to meet you." And I was like, I said, "You know my name?" He says, "I know a lot about you." I said, "That's kind of creepy." And he was like, "I helped pick you out. I seen your tape." And I was like all of it? Like the whole thing? He's like,
all the bad stuff.
he's like, "Yeah. And I think you're great." He's like, "You're hilarious." I was like, that's not the way you want to meet someone that, you know, is like a pioneer in the paranormal field. It's like, well, I was cussing out my best friend about, did they have animals back there? I'm like, why did I ask such a stupid question? I swear I have better questions than that. I can connect dots, just not those dots. It was a lot of pressure, sir. A lot of pressure. But yeah, so it was funny because didn't know that it was going to be ghost hunters, and didn't know that we were going to be working with Grant and that he helped pick us out. And then when we found out, that's like, you feel really good about yourself. You know, I'm like, you saw something in me. I don't know what it was, but you saw it. And now I don't want to make you upset. Like, I want to make you proud because I don't want you to have the buyer's remorse.
Yep.
It's like, oh, we should have picked that one person because now that we think about it, they didn't say so many stupid things as you. But I don't know.
No, way better TV.
So that's how I got into the paranormal, and that's how I got on Ghost Hunters. It's all a mystery, it's all blur. I still don't even, when I see the show, it still doesn't register to me that I was on TV. Like my son, they were watching YouTube the other day, like some like scary story thing, and Ghost Hunters commercial came on in between it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I heard me talking, and I was like, but you know when you don't really register it's you? I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. I'm like, what are you guys watching? You. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, okay. But yeah. And then I have to like the baseball, my son's baseball team, like the boys on there, they're like, we're asking Landon about, you know, your mom's on Ghost Hunters. We were watching shows, blah, blah, blah. How many ghosts has she caught? And he's like, I don't know. She's sitting right there. Ask her. And they're like, so they asked me. I'm like, a lot. Pay attention to the game because you're losing right now. Like, we'll talk about this later. But, you know, it's just, it's kind of one of those things that I don't know how it happened. I feel lucky that I got like the opportunity and it's amazing. But I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it. I don't necessarily feel like, I don't know why anybody would want to watch me. I'm like,
You're really entertaining as far as I'm concerned. So
you want to see me eat a bag of Doritos?
Oh yeah, I do.
Really watch that woman unpack her groceries, so I'm okay watching Doritos.
You know what I mean? Like when I think about my life, like I told my husband, because like right now I'm not, like we're not traveling and I'm not doing hygiene stuff right now. So I'm doing remote learning with my kids, which let me tell you right now, I'm questioning everything about myself as a parent for sure. Also, like, this is how bad it was the other day. Okay, I have a kindergartner and a fifth grader. Fifth grader's doing fine. Kindergartner was literally biting his toenails on his Zoom call.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Like, put your foot down now. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Then he wasn't on mute and he looked at me and said, Mom, my teacher's like really bossy.
Oh my God, I love that.
What's wrong with you? Oh my gosh. So
My teacher.
I was like, you were kind of like a little jerk. Like, stop, pay attention, quit eating your toenails. Like, stop. Ugh. Anyway, this is why I'm saying I'm questioning my parenting. Like, because at this point, I'm not a teacher. Okay. I don't have that sweet voice, that sympathy that something's frustrating. Like, you aren't making an F and you just don't want to. I'm not going to work with you with this. Okay. Like I'm not a good mom. I want to be that good mom, the caring mom, the mom that bakes cookies and is like, it's okay, sweetheart. We can do this. No, like
Be yourself.
I'm just like,
mom.
I'm just like, I'm going to kill you. Okay. So at this point, I'm kind of like weighing the options. I'm like, listen, send them back to school. I'll sign a waiver. We'll take our chances with Corona. They might get it and die. They stay home with me and keep back talking. I feel like the chances of them dying are a lot higher in this hand. You know what I mean? Like, I'm weighing my options. I'm like, either way, they may die. So is it a Corona's hand or my hand? Like, which one? I shouldn't joke about that. That's a joke. I don't want my children to catch Corona. I'm not going to kill them. We will learn how to make Fs. It will be fine. I may have developed a drinking problem, but we're working on that too.
I feel you. A lot of my coworkers that have kids, they talk about this, and oh man, I am so sorry.
I'm fortunate right now to be able to stay home, like that I'm not going back and cleaning teeth right now, and that I'm not on the road investigating right now. Like, I'm fortunate that I get to stay home and actually be there with my kids to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think about all the parents that have like full-time jobs that don't have the option to stay. I'm like, how the hell are you guys doing this? Like, I should quit my bitching because at least I'm here to help. Like, you have to do all of that and then come home and do the school too. I just have to do the school and keep them alive. Like, I should probably like count my blessings. I don't know.
Or they're trying to work remotely and teach their kids school or make sure that they're doing their school. I'm like,
listen, I'm working on something right now, and I was trying to like I was typing something up. I was trying to formulate a sentence. But between the toenail eater, the damn dog, and my 5th grader coming down to say, we're on break now, I couldn't come up with a sentence. I was like, I don't know what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to listen to him, make sure he's not telling people that his teacher's bossy, not eating his toenails. The dog won't quit barking because a leaf ran by the front porch, and you're on break. Like, everyone just, I'm not.
Can you imagine 30 toenail eaters though, and you have to wrangle them all in your one teacher? My mom is a 1st grade teacher, and she has a little bit higher level. Like, maybe they don't eat toenails at that point, but she's like,
Listen,
it's a mess.
Teachers are saints. My sister-in-laws are teachers. My brother-in-law is a teacher. Yep. They're either teachers or they're firefighters. Okay. They're saints.
Yeah.
And they kind of laugh at me because when I said, like, we were supposed to be going to school, and then they switched it to remote learning for the first quarter, and I think I may die. They all laughed. And I'm like, honestly, guys, though, like, I've been married to my husband almost 12 years. You know my personality. Do we trust me? Children? Do we? Like, I'm shaping the minds of these young little lives. No. Like, I want to teach them, like, the right from wrong. But I want to say, listen, Mrs. Blank, I'm sorry that his F's are backwards. We've tried to make them the right way, and I lost that battle. He can read it. I know what it says. Like, have you ever done those stupid things on Facebook where, like, if you can read this backwards, repost, blah, 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 you're a genius. Like, people can read backwards. They'll know it's an F. Like, just give him a sticker and let's move on. I don't know. Or film him. I don't know. It's your call. You're the teacher. You're the one who should know how to do this stuff. You got a ghost question? Ask me. I may know the answer. I don't know. I may not. But don't rely on me to teach how to write the Also, any teachers out there, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. I say things and I don't mean it. It's just for comedic relief. But everyone types and texts. So do we really need to learn how to write with a pencil? Like, at this point, I'm like, cursive is almost out the window.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, at what? Like, obviously, we have to, because eventually, like, shit crashes all the time. Electronics go down. Like, 2020, who knows what's going to happen? Not zombies, like I was hoping. Like, if I'm doing this shit, at least let me have a little fun before we kick it, you know? But I don't know. Just like, everyone, like, I'm like, he can point out every letter because he types it into YouTube.
He's got that down.
Yeah. No. So I started taking stuff away. Like, this is how I parent. You don't want to make it the way that I've told you to, the way I've helped your hand go. you want to keep being a dick and fighting me? We're not going to win this battle, 5-year-old. Okay, I'm going to take you down. I was like, YouTube's gone, video games gone, Fortnite, hate that. You aren't playing it anymore. Thank God you're being misbehaving because Fortnite's so stupid. Can I buy V-Bucks? No, I'm not spending real money on fake money. So you can buy an outfit and get a cool backpack for your guy. That's $40 of
Write
fake.
your F the right way.
Write your F the right way, okay? So that's gone. These little figurine things, gone. You can earn them back by being good.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. My husband called, how's things going? I'm in the trenches taking grenades. What do you want? And he was like, so not well. No, not well. Not well at all. Are you enjoying your time away from this hellhole, this prison that I call my house? Are you having fun?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so those things got taken away. And then he comes up in the evening once my husband came home. And he goes, hey, Mom. Granted, he's 5, okay? So I know I was mean to you today, but can I have like one of those things back that you took away? I asked my husband, I said, did you tell him to come apologize to me? Which that wasn't really an apology. That was just an acknowledging that he had done something wrong. He's like, no, I didn't tell him anything. I said, he's like, I didn't say anything to him, actually. I was like, you didn't tell him to come up here? So then I was like, you smart little son of a bitch. Like, you knew what you were doing today because your dad didn't even say anything. And you came up here and said, I know I was mean to you today. Like,
Ew.
you knew that you almost broke me? And all you're worried about is your Fortnite? Like,
yeah. Duh, Mom.
obviously, I'm not raising real great people. Like, I don't know. Anyway, want to talk about ghosts?
Yeah, tell us about your scariest, scariest ghost that you found. Do you have a scary story for us? Or kind of a crazy one?
This did not happen on the show. This is just investigating. I was with my sister. We went to the YWCA where we live. And we were going on the tour where they walk you around the building, tell you what everything is, the claims before they let you go out on your own and investigate. So we go up the stairs and I walk past this. It's like a little closet area, but it doesn't have a door. And there's a lady leaning against the wall, looking unamused. And we lock eyes and I say, oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Like, because, I'm walking in front of her. I'm not trying to be rude. And she kind of just and follows me. I was like, okay. So my sister comes in behind me and she stands right in front of this lady. And I'm like, Jen, don't be rude. And I grab her shirt to pull her out of the way. And she's like, what? As I'm pulling her out of the way, the lady disappears.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, and my sister's like, what just happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm like, I think I just did. There was no way for that lady to get out of, no one in the group looked like that lady. There was no other exit of that door. Come to find out, this was before we heard the claims up there. Come to find out, people see a dance teacher up there.
Oh.
And the lady that I saw had a white shirt on that kind of had a little bit of a collar, but she was tall and skinny. And she had her hair pulled back. I don't know if it was in a bun. She had brown hair and it was pulled back, but she looked like a ballerina type of look to her.
She didn't look scary to you though.
I thought she was a person.
Real person. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But the creepy thing about that was we locked eyes. She acknowledged me. She looked unamused.
Oh, okay.
And we looked at each other's eyes and they followed me. And then for her to disappear, I was like, geez. So that was really cool.
That is a cool story.
That is. And her eyes looked fine.
Yeah.
Normal.
Interesting.
They're not eerie, creepy eyes.
Yeah.
No, she looked like a person. Ghosts are people, but she looked I thought it was a living person.
Do you think she had a lot of energy then? Is that correct? When they can kind of manifest as a
So,
person?
I mean, we are researching like what it takes for them to manifest, and like if when you see certain things, is it because we're catching different stages of manifestation, or you can't necessarily control what you manifest as? Like, you could be a shadow, you could be a light, you could be a fog. Like, you don't have that option.
Interesting.
I mean, all of us had ghost gear,
Yeah.
and flashlights and a lot of different personalities and all of our energies. So maybe, I don't know. But
Interesting. Have you ever ran into any kind of like demonic entity while you've been ghost hunting?
I don't believe I have.
Okay.
So demonic things, I feel like, are you run into something like that once in a blue moon. They're not as common as everyone thinks. Just because you get scratched or pushed or doesn't mean it's demonic.
Yeah.
I believe that when you pass away, your personality doesn't change. So if you're an asshole in life, you're going to be an asshole in death. That doesn't matter. Like, if you were mean, you may push someone, you may scratch someone. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean you're the devil. That just means that's your personality. Also, like, just because you get scratched doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing, because you don't necessarily know how much energy it takes for a ghost to even make any type of connection with you. You know, like, it could come across as a scratch, but they didn't mean to. They've been trying to reach you, trying to make themselves known for so long, using energy, keep trying, and it's not working. And then they finally get enough energy, but they have to try as hard as they were before. But they have enough energy and it comes across as a scratch, and they're like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I always compare it to like a baby. Babies will scratch you. They'll grab a hold of your hair and pull. Like, they're not being demonic or mean. Like, they don't realize their own strength. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I could totally see, you're getting frustrated even, and you're trying to communicate with somebody, and then it comes across as you being an asshole.
Yeah. It's like, listen, I've been trying to tell you how to do this, make an F, for like the whole entire night, and you're just not getting it. So let me tell you just a little bit louder. And then it's like, all of a sudden, oh, I didn't mean it like that type of thing,
Yep.
Yeah, like, just misunderstood. And the thing with ghost hunting or paranormal investigating is we're literally investigating the unknown. And there's no way to know if we're right or wrong about something.
Yeah.
Everything's a theory. So that's why I love to hear other people's theories. I love to investigate with other people. Like, what do you like to do? Because I believe that even though, like, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you can always learn something from someone.
For sure.
Different investigation techniques can work in different locations. I think that as long as you're being real about it and you're trying to find connection with the person who passed on, and you're being sincere, that you really want to talk to them and just see what they have to say, and you're not looking for just an experience, that's when you start getting interaction and evidence.
Yeah.
It's when they can feel that you're actually there for the right reasons. I know that people sometimes ask me, well, what does it take to catch an apparition or an EVP? And I try not to be a smartass, but I'm like, if I knew what it took, then I can make it happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If we all knew what it took to get an apparition, like what type of energy they needed, the environment around them, like what all they needed, we would all make sure that that was the case, that all the factors were perfectly aligned so that we could get apparitions every time we investigated, especially if you're passionate about the paranormal field.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yet. That's why we do the research. That's why we, go to so many different locations, try so many different techniques, because we're trying to figure out what works, we have in common with each investigation and why we got the results we did. I also like to say, ghosts aren't performing monkeys. Okay. Just because you want it to happen doesn't mean my kids want me to make cookies. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it just because you demand
that's true.
that I make cookies. Like, don't demand them to show themselves, or like, especially when you're in their area. Like, I always like to go when I investigate, introduce myself, tell them why I'm there and who I know, like the owner of the building. Hey, I'm so-and-so's friends. They said it was okay that I was here. So then it's like, okay, there's a familiar person that I brought up. And it's like I would go into one of your guys' houses. I wouldn't just walk in and be like, is there anyone here? I'd be like, who the hell are you and what are you doing here? I would knock, or would say, like, hey, my name's Richel. Like, is there anyone here I can talk to? Or what's your name? Like, just because they passed on or you can't see them doesn't mean that you need to not be, what do you call it? Polite. Yeah. Like, be polite. Because a lot of times if you're not polite, you get scratched or pushed. You wanna know why? Because you can't see them. Don't pick a fight with someone you can't see.
I totally agree.
Right? Like, it's a sucker punch every time. I know that if I'm a ghost, just so you know, I'm going to have so much fun with people.
I would too.
So much fun.
I would too.
I told my grandma when she passes to come and haunt me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. She's like, yep, I'm going to totally harass you. I was like, great, grandma.
I've told my grandma to do stuff that I'll know that's her. I'm like move something for me if you can. Like a little tug on my hair. I don't know. You can be a little bit of a jerk. Like some funny things. Like I fold all the laundry and you flip it out of the basket.
Oh,
like,
no, I'd be pissed.
Oh, I would be too, but I would know that was my grandma. I'd be like, oh.
Can I ask you what your theory on spirits, as far as, are they here because they haven't passed on, or are they coming back to visit? Do you have any kind of theories on that? Why they're lingering maybe here?
I kind of think, like, sometimes when someone's here because something traumatic happened to them, ghosts are energy. Okay. So when there's like high emotion, that's a lot of energy. If something traumatic happened to you and you're here because you maybe want to prevent it from happening to someone else, that may be why they're around. I don't necessarily know if it's unfinished business or if they just feel like a strong need to prevent it. Like they're in charge of whether they can go or not, type of thing, but they're so emotionally attached and that they want to stay there because of it.
Gotcha.
The other thing is like when it's something that's happy, like I almost think that, like, if you had a favorite place and you passed on and it was your absolute favorite place, you would want to go there, right?
Yeah.
So is that like your version of heaven? Like, this is where I feel the most at peace. This is where I want to be. So I want to be here because this is just where I want to be. So I don't know. It's kind of like I don't necessarily think it's unfinished business, like they're getting held here. I think it's their own choice type of thing.
Interesting.
Now, whether they feel that like I'm staying here because I want to prevent something, it's not necessarily unfinished business. It's the emotional need to do that. But that's just sometimes a theory. Like, that's how I feel, but at the same time, like, there's always the one-off thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there's always an exception to the rule, even though this isn't a rule, it's just a theory. But you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I totally got you. And yeah, I totally agree.
I don't like to think that people are stuck here.
Well, that's what I always worry about. I'm like, are these ghosts stuck?
I worry about that. I don't want to think that they're stuck here. And Also, when I investigate, I never make a promise that I can't keep.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't say I'll help you pass on.
Yeah.
Because I can't do that.
Mhm.
Like, if you need a message me to tell someone something, I will track that person down and tell them. If you want me to bring you a bear,
Mm-hmm.
I will bring you a bear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try not to make promises I can't keep, and I don't like to think that people are actually stuck someplace. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times when we catch like moans and like or screams or something, that's residual.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we can't capture any evidence that lets us know that they're actively in pain or something's happening. A lot of the time it's residual energy.
Yeah. Just kind of embedded into the surroundings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so fascinating. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking to us and telling us about your family and ghost hunting and how you made it onto Ghost Hunters. You're great. I loved you.
Thank you for letting me just chat your ear off about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, great.
Didn't even pertain to ghosts half the time. I apologize.
It's okay.
I've been trapped in this house for so long. I don't talk to people. Help me.
I love it. Do you want to give a shout out to our listeners on how they can get connected with you?
Yeah. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, I'm at Stratton Richel, STRATTONRICHEL. I post a bunch of stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean it's related to ghosts. It's just whatever I like. So you'll see a bunch of different pictures of my hair on there because I like to change my hair color a lot. And you'll see different locations we go to. Also, any events that we have coming up. We actually have an event coming up on September 25th at the Mineral Springs Mall in Alton, Illinois. I will be there with Brian, Mustafa, and Daryl. We'll be investigating. We still have tickets if you want to come and investigate. It's one of our favorite locations. And yeah, so you can follow me on any of those and then keep up to date on what I'm doing.
That's so cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today.
Thank
Bye.
you
Thank you
so much.